I would love to pretend that I look more artsy. I don't whatever people's concept. Maybe this is artsy. I don't know. But this is it. This is this is it right here. This is an artist look. Not the point. Um, so all those French knots that I made, I missed the deadline for the time that this piece needed to be turned in, and I could have finished it in time, but it started to become more meditative, so took my time. And I have not counted how many dots I have. There's a lot. I did add color from one of Picasso's doves because that's what I based it off of. Like I said, the prompt was community, and I decided to go with all the varieties of skin tones that I could find in embroidery floss. And the more I thought about it, the more intense my emotions got about it, because I think community is obviously something we all need, and we all need our own communities. But we also need to branch out into expanding communities. And one thing that I've been thinking about a lot since moving back to the middle of High Point is how much I enjoy walking my dogs and hearing, kids playing on the basketball court that's like a block down from here. And I love hearing mariachi music in the backyard. I love that my neighbors brought me tacos, homemade tacos, for my birthday. And during the snowstorm, we were sharing food across the fence. And I've never had neighbors like this. And it made me really happy. And to me, that's what it's supposed to be, is, you know, Mr. Rogers, won't you be my neighbor? And I think we forget about that a lot because, well, there's a lot of division. And keeping a soft heart in this hard world is really difficult. But then I have those moments and I'm like, oh, yes, this is what community is supposed to be. It's supposed to be people coming together, through all their differences and finding common ground. And, that's just not something we do. And I believe that we're all important and we all have something to offer. And ignoring that, we lose a lot. We lose a lot of opportunities to learn new things, try new things, make good friends. And, if we don't embrace it, we lose a lot, and I am a Christian, and the Bible says, oh, yep, there go my dogs. And the Bible says, everyone is your neighbor, whenever it says, well, who is my neighbor? It's the one who needs help. And we all need a little help. And the best way to do that is to make communities. And I don't know, I think it would all be boring if there was just one color on here. I think it'd be really sad. Boring is like an understatement. It would be sad. And I feel like actually very lonely when I had my 2 acres of land and, everyone looked like me but did not think like I did. I felt a lot of anger around me, and I heard a lot of guns, I heard a lot of trucks, and it felt like a very angry place. And now I'm here where I'm the minority, and it is just the best here. I've never had neighbors so kind and so fun. And like we're getting ready to try and build a garden together with herbs and stuff, and and having people from different backgrounds, we learn a lot from each other. And, the fastest way to make a friend is when someone hears me too, because you've immediately found common ground. And, to me, that's powerful. And having opportunities to meet new people and try new things is powerful. And I think it's important. We're in a time that's, unprecedented, but as a millennial, I'm getting really tired of hearing unprecedented because now it is precedented. And we're all out here just doing our best, but it'd be a lot easier if we would reach out and make communities and make friends and stand up for one another and be kind to one another. And so, I did. I finished my piece. Millions of dots, lots of thoughts. That rhymed. That was fantastic. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might keep it. I don't know if I'm going to sell it. I don't know. But it did make me reflect a lot. And, I don't know if it'll do the same for you. I hope that it does give you time to reflect and think, and I don't know, think about what communities you want to build, what communities you want to get into. And, even though I'm a very solitary person, I do have a tendency to self-isolate. And, that's something that I'm working on. But, I like my alone time, but I also like when I can go out, and I also like gabbing at the fence with my neighbor. And I love that her husband, who's from Mexico, I love that he, says hi and then asks me where Chase is immediately, because he wants to show him his peppers. And, like, to me, that is, I don't know, it's just a really good feeling. And, when I had a housewarming and I had all our friends over, my heart felt so full because there were so many different people there, and their only common ground in that moment was Chase and I. And before I knew it, they were all just sitting around the table on the couch, just talking and enjoying each other's company. And, it's cheesy to say, but I felt like my heart might explode because it just made me so happy to see all these different people, hanging out and, making new friends and learning about different things. And that's what I want to see as a community. Right now we're being pitted against each other, and it makes it hard and not fair to each other. There's a lot of things that are not fair right now, but that's a different day. And so right now I think the biggest thing we need is community. Even though, like I said, I'm a solitary person, I recognize that I need community. And it is such a struggle, to do what I preach. Well, I don't know if this is necessarily preaching. It's just a reflection on community. And, I hope that we do get to that point where, we remember that we're all human, we're all doing our best, and sometimes you need a hand and, a little extra push, or, an extra reason to go out, or, a reason to bake some banana bread and share it with friends. We need each other. We need each other a lot right now. And, during quarantine, that was a completely different, time. Now, that one might have been unprecedented. That's fair. But, during quarantine, we found ways to communicate and create with each other. And I want to see that again, but maybe a little bit more open and in person. And, you know, I don't know what I'm talking about. I had big feelings while I made this, and I wanted to share my big feelings with you, um, because maybe you're having big feelings too. And, it's hard to explain sometimes, how those things feel. But I don't think I'm joking when I say I would go to jail for my neighbors. Um, I say that a lot because I love them, but I think I would go to jail for my neighbors. I think there's a lot of things I would be willing to go to jail for right now. Um, but that's neither here nor there. It's more of a I'm unhinged and I'm losing it kind of thing. Um, but anyways, thanks for listening to my thing about community and how long this took me. Took me a while. Uh, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to sell it. I might. I might sell it and then put all the proceeds towards some community nonprofit. Um, yeah. Anyways, that's it. Let me know what you think about community, or how you would like to get involved with different communities, because I do have access to art communities here in High Point, and I can find you some wherever you are. Or if you want support groups and stuff, I'll help you find some support groups, because that's also an easy way to find community, knowing that other people struggle with the same things. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, let me know what you got and what your thoughts are. Yeah, thank you.